And then Cunningham gets into the face of Carrington. So clearly was a foul, was not called.
Men should not play sports against women. I'm not going to get into all the bullshit that's going on out here in the world today. If anybody thinks that, I think they're stupid. I'm not.
It happened fast. August 8th, 2026, just 3 minutes into the game, and Deja Carrington caught up to Sophie Cunningham on a fast break. What she did next shocked everyone. Her arm swung straight across Cunningham's face and neck, sending her crashing to the floor with no way to brace herself. The impact was brutal. Within seconds, the whole basketball world was talking about it. And one man wasn't staying quiet: Charles Barkley. The Hall of Famer, known for calling things exactly as he sees them, had zero patience left for what he'd just witnessed.
I mean, look, it was a hard foul. I don't think that Dejanay intentionally came out to get her across the neck like she did, but it did happen, and I thought it was the right call. But, you know, one of the things about Nay is that she's going to play her butt off, man. She's going to compete. Nobody's going to go walking in for a layup, and so I don't oppose the hard foul, but I also don't think that she intentionally went for.
Here's where it gets worse. Just 8 minutes after that hit, while Cunningham was still lying on the court getting checked out, while her own teammates were pulling her away from Carrington, Deja Carrington was already online. She jumped on Threads and started talking about white privilege on the Indiana Fever.
Dejanay Carrington is such an unserious person, because what do you mean you commit a flagrant 2 and then you go to Threads and play the victim? Are we surprised?
And it didn't stop there. She followed it up with another post. August 23rd, the exact date circled, the next time these two teams meet. Think about that timeline for a second. The player who just leveled Cunningham in the face, the player who got tossed from the game for it, was online talking about white privilege before Cunningham had even made it off the court.
Take a walk with me, take a walk with me, take a walk with me. There is craziness going on in the WNBA. Dejanay Carrington tweeted out white privilege from the locker room of a game that she was playing in. Get this. She fouled Sophie Cunningham hard. Sophie Cunningham, obviously a white person, fouls her hard. Flagrant 2, gets ejected, goes to the locker room and tweets out white privilege in the middle of the game. Now, here's the kicker to me. A flagrant 2 has to be contact that can lead to an injury that looks excessive. Dejanay, it was about as excessive as possible. If there was any evidence of there being white privilege, this was...
That right there is not frustration boiling over. That is not a split-second mistake made in the heat of battle. That is a calculated message, sent straight to the entire basketball world, telling everyone exactly how Deja Carrington wanted this foul to be seen.
I mean, just to protect her, that's it. I mean, you know, I got my teammate back always, so just to get out of the way.
Gotta ask about her response. She went in and she got on social and said white privilege after her getting...
Who did this?
Deja did. Any response to that?
No, I don't.
Picture this: a clean breakaway, an easy layup waiting, and then out of nowhere, a hit that changes everything. That's exactly what happened on August 8th, 2026, and by the time the dust settled, the entire basketball world was arguing about it. Sophie Cunningham had nothing but open court ahead of her. She was flying toward the rim, nobody near her, an easy 2 points on the way. Then Deja Carrington came charging in from behind, and instead of a clean contest, she swung her left arm straight into Cunningham's face and neck. Cunningham went down hard, flat on her back, with zero chance to protect herself. It wasn't a basketball play. It looked like something out of a completely different sport. The referees stopped play and ran it back on video. At first, they called it a flagrant 1, but after looking closer, they bumped it all the way up to a flagrant 2. That's the most serious foul call in the game, and it comes with an automatic ejection. Carrington was done for the night. Now here's where the story stops being about basketball and turns into something much bigger. Just 8 minutes after getting tossed from the game, while Cunningham was still being looked at by medical staff, Carrington posted online. She wrote about white privilege and tagged the Indiana Fever directly. Let that sink in. The player who had just leveled another woman in the face, hard enough to knock her flat on the floor, was already on social media, turning the moment into a political statement before her opponent had even walked off the court. And she didn't stop at one post. She followed it with another message, this time marking August 23rd, the exact date these two teams play again. So within minutes of a dangerous, game-ejecting foul, Carrington had already shifted the entire conversation away from the hit itself and towards something else entirely. This all happened inside a building that was already boiling over. Cunningham had spent the week before dealing with heavy backlash for speaking out on transgender athletes competing in women's sports. She walked into that arena already a target. Then she gets hit in the face on a breakaway, and instead of the crowd showing any sympathy, they cheered loudly for the player who hit her as she walked off the court after getting ejected. A player gets sent off for a dangerous foul, and the home crowd claps her out like she did something to be proud of. Think about how strange that actually is. Cunningham, to her credit, didn't just lie there. She popped up immediately and went straight at Carrington, shoving her and shouting, before teammates and Fever security had to physically separate the two of them and drag Carrington away. It was chaos. And through all of it, Carrington still found a way to make the story about anything other than the hit itself. When reporters and commentators got a hold of this, the reaction was instant and loud. One voice put it bluntly, a hit like that to the neck is dangerous enough to seriously hurt someone. And if the league doesn't come down hard on it with real punishment, they're sending the wrong message to every player watching. And this is exactly the moment Charles Barkley couldn't stay silent. Barkley has built his entire post-playing career on saying the thing everyone else is too nervous to say out loud. He was calling out the unfair treatment Caitlin Clark received long before it became a mainstream talking point. He said flat out that she deserves all the attention and success coming her way. He's also been one of the loudest voices calling out the WNBA over the All-Star voting controversy, saying the embarrassment was on the league, not on the players caught in the middle of it. So when Barkley looked at this situation, a player swinging her arm into another player's face on a breakaway, getting rightfully ejected, and then posting about white privilege 8 minutes later, his read on it lined up with what most clear-thinking fans were already saying. This wasn't hard, physical basketball. This wasn't toughness. This was something else entirely, and Barkley wasn't interested in pretending otherwise. He's been just as direct on the bigger conversation happening around women's sports too, saying plainly that he doesn't believe men should be competing against women, and that he's not interested in debating the point. For him, it's simply not up for discussion. Now, here's the part that makes this whole situation impossible to see as an isolated incident. This is not the first run-in between Carrington and the Fever's biggest star. Back in 2024, Carrington poked Caitlin Clark directly in the eye during a game. That clip spread everywhere within hours. Every single Clark fan in the country saw it. And yet, despite the video being crystal clear, no flagrant foul was called on the play, and Carrington walked away with no suspension and no fine that was ever made public. So think about the pattern here. The same player who poked one Fever star in the eye with barely any consequence 2 years earlier just swung her entire arm into another Fever player's face and neck in 2026. She got ejected this time, sure, but the pattern of her testing the boundaries with Fever players goes back further than one single night. Fans noticed the connection instantly. The general feeling online was simple. When a league doesn't hold players accountable the first time, it teaches those players they can push the line again later without real consequences. Carrington tested that boundary in 2024 and barely got touched for it. In 2026, she tested it again, and this time the league had no choice but to act, because the foul was too obvious and too dangerous to ignore. Meanwhile, the player who actually took the hit had her own message to send. Responding directly to Carrington's white privilege post, Cunningham made her feelings crystal clear. She said the ejection had nothing to do with race, plain and simple. Think about that for a second. The person who was actually on the receiving end of the foul, the one who hit the floor and had to be checked out, said race wasn't part of the equation at all. And yet Carrington posted about it anyway, all while the crowd cheered her off the floor like she'd done nothing wrong. Cunningham later added that she and Carrington had barely ever spoken before that night, and that she doesn't have any personal issue with her. Her take was that Carrington seemed to have some frustration built up that needed to come out somewhere, which, fair enough, but a breakaway layup isn't exactly the place for it. Even Fever head coach Stephanie White, who actually coached Carrington back in 2023 and 2024, gave her about as much benefit of the doubt as anyone possibly could. White said post-game that she believed it was simply a hard foul, and that she didn't think there was any intent behind it. That's about as generous of a read as Carrington could have hoped for from anyone connected to the Fever. And how did Carrington respond to that generosity? by posting about white privilege and circling August 23rd on the calendar like she was already looking ahead to round 2. Despite everything, the flagrant foul in the very first quarter, the hostile arena cheering on the player who caused it, and a viral social media post going up before the final buzzer even sounded, the Indiana Fever still found a way to win, closing it out 90-86. But nobody walked away from that night talking about the final score. They were talking about the 8 minutes between the ejection and the post. They were talking about a crowd that cheered a player off the court for hurting someone. They were talking about a pattern that stretches all the way back to 2024, in a league that has repeatedly let similar plays slide without any serious consequence. So here's the real question hanging over the entire league right now, and it's one that nobody seems willing to answer honestly. Is this single social media post, fired off just minutes after a dangerous ejection, actually the most revealing moment of the entire 2026 season? Not the flagrant foul itself, not the final score, the post. Because a hard foul happens in every league, every season. That part, fans can argue about forever. But turning it into a political statement before your opponent even leaves the floor, that's not something that happens by accident. And that's exactly why this moment has stuck with people days later. And does it prove something bigger? Does it prove that what's happening to Indiana Fever players, the shoving, the targeting, the hostile crowds, the cheers when one of their players goes down, has moved past hard-nosed, physical basketball and turned into something else entirely? Something the league can't just wave off as part of the game anymore. Because if this were a one-time thing, maybe you brush it off. But this isn't a one-time thing. This is a pattern with a receipt from 2024 attached to it. That's the question everyone in the basketball world is sitting with right now. Not just the analysts on television, not just the former players turned commentators, regular fans, casual fans, people who don't even follow the WNBA closely are asking it too. And it's a question that deserves a real, honest answer. Not silence. Not a quiet fine that never gets announced. Not a "we'll review it internally" statement that goes nowhere. An actual answer. So now it's your turn. If this story got you as fired up as it got everyone else who watched it unfold in real time, don't just scroll past it and forget about it by tomorrow. Drop your honest take in the comments right now. Do you genuinely believe this was targeting, planned out, and intentional? Or do you think this was just a hard foul that got messy and got read the wrong way? Say what you actually think, not what sounds safe. And if you want more breakdowns like this one, the kind that dig into the real story instead of just skimming the surface, the kind that ask the hard questions everyone else is too scared to bring up, then do me a favor and hit that like button. It genuinely helps more people find videos like this one, and it tells me you want more of this honest, no-filter coverage instead of the watered-down version everyone else is putting out. And make sure you're subscribed too, because I promise you, this story is not finished. Not even close. This isn't one of those situations that just fades away in a few days once the next headline shows up. This one has a built-in deadline. August 23rd is circled in red on the calendar, and it's not just circled by fans online. Both teams know exactly what that date means. Both locker rooms know it. Both fan bases have already started counting down to it. Every single person who watched this unfold is going to be watching that game a little differently now. Because when these two teams step back on that court, this isn't just going to be a regular matchup anymore. Every hard screen is going to get replayed in slow motion. Every close call near the rim is going to get dissected online within seconds. Every reaction from both benches is going to be picked apart. You can bet this entire conversation, the foul, the ejection, the post, the crowd, all of it, is going to come rushing right back the second the ball goes up for tip-off. So don't miss it. Stay subscribed, stay tuned, and stay ready. Because whatever happens on August 23rd is going to add a whole new chapter to a story that's already got the entire basketball world talking. This is far from over. This is just getting started.